Right, welcome everybody to another episode of Chris and Dave's Reality Cast. I'm one of your hosts, Chris Phelps, and my co-host and very good friend is the Mr. Dave Horrocks. I nearly said the wonderful Dave Horrocks.
The fantastical, the amazing.
You're not paying me to say this, by the way. I think people think you're paying me to say it.
We're almost into the Royal Rumble, so it deserves that kind of wrestling intro, doesn't it? But anyway, Chris, thank you for that. And hello to our listeners out there. Welcome to Chris and Dave's TV Reality Cast. We are covering Love Island UK Season 7, Episode 35. Now, Chris, where the hell to start with that? But I think before we get into the conflicting, is this actually entertainment anymore? I think let's talk about some of the other things before the main event. So, Chris, we start off. It's a carry-on from last night's episode where we get the cinema, the worst cinema in the world. I'd be demanding my money back there. First up is Tyler. And then we get to see some moments with Tyler and Clarice. And what do you think of, Kaz's reaction? It can't have been that nice to actually see it. It's a bit different, isn't it? To just things that are in your mind's eye.
They are, but also, Dave, the man of the moment for me was fucking Matt, because he was like a dog with two dicks. He was loving it. I'm all here for that, Dave, because I was pissing myself watching fucking Kazzy's face, because I was thinking, I'm not saying that her and Matt were compatible, because they weren't, but she has backed the wrong horse in Tyler. And what she sees there is what that guy is going to do to her. So there wasn't a lot of reaction. She sort of dealt with it quite well. She knew stuff had happened, but Tyler's face, he was shitting it, wasn't he, Dave? He was Tinker Tyler Soldier Boy, whatever it was called, the thing. He was whacking himself. Honestly, Dave, I was pissing myself. And it is very similar. I know we're going to get onto about Liam and that, but it's very similar to, he was very economical with the truth on it. I know he wasn't with Kaz like only the last day or so they've decided to make a go for it, but they were a couple until he come back in with Clarice. So he was very economical. I mean, are they that daft that they're not going to watch the show? It just, it was just, but Dave, that was the hors d'oeuvre for the episode.
Yeah. That was a little aperitif, Chris. Before we get on to Liam, right, got to agree with you. I was like, give Matt the 50K now. He was sat there with the popcorn, laughing his fucking cock off. and actually, when, you get Kaz's being shown as well, and I think the girls have got a different reaction, haven't they? The boys are literally sat there with their head in their hands thinking, holy shit. The girls seem to be taking the lead from Faye and like, oh, this is really funny and stuff. And so when they're showing the kiss, Matt's just like, is that what I sound like? And honestly, I thought it was brilliant. The popcorn prop just topped it off for me, where he's just sat there eating his popcorn. We like to, when we're getting ready to watch something, we like to roll out the old, Michael Jackson eating popcorn. There's a few other good popcorn gifs. GIF that fucking thing there with Matt, because that was brilliant. That was just a guy having a ball and like, this is my best time. So yeah, I just thought it was fantastic.
No, it was. And then we went on to Moving Mad Max, Dave, which was a bit of a weird one. And that was good old Liam from the Valleys having a freeway kiss, which we'd mentioned. And I said to her, he can't just go on like Jake and Liberty and Teddy and Faye. He's got to be something. And with Liam again. But Dave, Millie again, she's far too forgiving, isn't she? Far too forgiving.
Yeah.
What is the matter?
I don't quite know what's going on there. And I don't like to see, people just blatantly get away with bad behavior. And I think that's it. The only way I can rationalize this, Chris, is that she's made her mind up. Probably what is in her head was, I can only think, is worse than was on that screen. Now, it must have really hurt to see it, even though it's probably not as bad, like I say. I just think she's made her mind up that she's going to forgive him, and now she's on that path.
Yeah.
So it's not a question of did he do this or did he do that? It's just a question of he really fucked up there, but I am making the choice to, get past that and try and make a go of this. It seems very odd, for so early in a relationship. He was there for 4 fucking days, Chris. You know what I mean? It's not like he was in the outback like for fucking 6 months or something. So I just find it very, very odd. I can't fully rationalize Millie's behavior there.
No, I can't, to be honest, Dave. And the next game was, it's a film franchise that I absolutely love, Dave. And I've got to be honest, Fast and Furious. Yep. We're pissing ourselves with Chloe and Toby. That basically giving Chloe maybe the best 10 seconds of his life. And I'm thinking, you lucky bastard, Dave. You know what I mean? So that was a good bit of light-hearted humor before Dave. And obviously there wasn't much going on in this episode. It was probably one of the worst we've seen, to be fair, Dave.
Well, yeah. I mean, for Toby and Chloe, let's talk about them first. So I just wonder, are the editors and producers here favouring Toby and Chloe a bit here? Because that was a bit of a fun thing. Everything else seemed brutal. And, for Toby and Chloe, it's just this little bit of a fun thing. They have a bit of a laugh about it. And who fucking thought, Chris, that Chloe and Toby would be like front runners in this damn thing? Suddenly they've bubbled to the top, haven't they? They look like they're having the most fun out of everyone. They look the most compatible to me out of everyone. It's just a weird turnaround.
It is. And you know why, Dave? Because the ones like Liberty, no one likes Jake. We'll get onto that in a sec. That's the reason. Kaz was a favourite of everyone. And then she decides to shaft Matt, which is fine. She's not adhered to having to stay with him. If they're not compatible, they're not compatible. He didn't give a lot away. But then she started like mirroring Tyler's behaviour. So she's gone down the pecking order. So you're not going to get them. Chloe and fucking Toby, they don't get... that's right, Chloe and Toby. Yeah, they don't give a fuck. They do not care, Dave. They are on the level. They are not caring what anyone thinks. This is them. And you know what, Dave? It sounds really daft. They're not really playing the game. They're just fucking daft.
Yeah, I agree. It is nice. I like it when they're on the screen and when Chloe's talking to the girls. And I think it was yesterday, she said, she's literally obsessed with him. And it feels more heartwarming, Chris, rather than heart-wrenching, which is for some of the other couples. But Chris, we've been calling for this for a little while now. We've been saying about Jake, and actually we flip-flopped. We went from, well, Jake is clearly going to cheat on Liberty, to, hang about, why is he winding up the guys and why is he trying to prod them and poke them to get them to cheat? Is he just after the 50K? And we got to see all of that, and the girls weren't impressed, Chris.
No, and we've been waiting so long for this moment with Jake. He's deserved to get egg on his face, Dave. He really have. But it's sort of going to work in his favour, because any normal episode of Love Island, he would be getting absolutely, called out. He is getting called out slightly, but because fucking Faye sticks a beak in again, it just escalates, and she just starts having a pop at him, and all this. And I'm like, and Jake, he had no excuse. I mean, she said something about his sister, and it's like, would you treat him like that and all this? We know Jake was playing games, Dave. He is that guy who wants his friends to cheat because he can't do that. He is playing a game. He is playing the ultimate 50K snatch, but it's backfired on him. And it was bad. Look, it was bad. When you actually listen to it and the things he's saying, Liberty sat there like this. But it was a point, Dave, when Faye was popping at him. I get a feeling if Faye carries this on with Jake, Liberty's going to go free, Dave. I think Liberty's got a bit of spice behind her. And I know we talk about Faye, and we'll definitely get onto that in a second. But it just felt there was a point where Liberty was like, I I think she was over what Jake had done, if that makes sense, Dave. She wasn't happy about him saying she would rip her clothes off and that. That was terrible. And it was terrible, but he was early on in the relationship. They weren't really a couple, were they? It was a couple of days in that he said that. So he was still finding the feet. Again,
still hurt her though, didn't it?
Oh,
she was clearly rocked by that.
Yeah, and it doesn't justify Jake saying it at all because it was awful. Anybody to hear that is awful. It's bad to hear that. But he just felt that, again, the producers have just done a number on them and they're going to have that doubt, which we said that, the coasting. We want something. I just think when they get out, a lot of the Islanders are going to be in the fucking tabloids in the UK going, the fucking producers have stitched us up here or whatever, because they're very, very, very clever what they've done tonight.
Bit like David Brent thought he was stitched up by the documentary of The Office.
Yes.
You headbutt a girl in the office once and they show it. I don't know. I can't see Liberty going for Faye. I think Faye is that overly domineering character in there. I think, no one calls Faye out at all from the girls, have to say. And I don't know, are they just scared of her? Do they just not want to get into a conflict with Faye? I think there's a few times when the girls could have had a word with Faye and chose not to. So I can't see Liberty going for her, in that way, when the Emperor's like Force Lightning, Luke Skywalker and Darth Vader does his turn. Is that what you're sort of thinking? That's what's in my mind's eye, Chris.
Yes.
As a massive fucking Star Wars nerd. But so I can't see that with Liberty. But Chris,
I know
we've talked about Faye there, right? So we can't put it off anymore. What the fuck?
Oh, Dave.
Fucking hell.
Right.
We love the drama, don't we? Right.
Yeah.
We love it. Right. And we were so excited. I put on our Discord, didn't I? I genuinely, for like the half hour before leading up to the show, I was having, the little parrot. My type on paper. I just had it going around in my head, this little earworm. I was just so excited going into it. But when you're watching tonight's episode and you're thinking, right, okay, this has gone too far now. This isn't entertaining anymore. Chris, they show Teddy and, he says that he's got a sexual attraction to Clarice. Obviously, she's fucking stunning. Any bloke who says that they don't are fucking lying, Chris.
But don't dig me out, Dave.
No, I'm okay. Chris, she's stunning. Just because you couple up with someone doesn't mean your libido gets fucking chopped off. You know what I mean?
No.
It's like, but you make a choice with your higher evolved part of your brain, right? Not going to do anything with that. Not going to act on this. But it doesn't mean that you're out of 7 billion people on the planet, you are only attracted to one person. It's just, I find it bizarre. But anyway, what did you reckon to all that, Chris? When Faye starts, even when they're sat on the different tables, she starts digging him out there. Of course, what she did with Sam was completely explainable. She'd said all of that. She'd said to Teddy, he's not fucking funny. And she'd said she'd shared a bed with Sam. That obviously was all she needed to say to say about what appeared on the screen in last night's episode. Chris, what do you say about all of that lot? Well,
there is a little bit of me. Teddy is slightly to blame. So that's wrong choice of words. He's not to blame for any of what happened after it. However, Faye doesn't need fucking any excuse just to blow up. We know this insecurity thing. And for me, it's gone past that now. I don't give a fuck how insecure she is, what stuff she's gone on in the past. Her behavior was fucking horrible, right? So I really want to get that out there now. Teddy saying he was technically single, and then we didn't get the context of anything. And you had Jake egging them all on. They're probably in Faye's head. She's probably thinking, right, this is excuse I need because I don't want to be hurt. I'm just going to go. And the first thing she says is, oh, nice guy, Teddy, get your sandals and fuck off. And that's how she said, and I'm like, what? I thought, oh, here we go.
Can I just say, though, to be a hypocrite, did like the sandals line.
Right,
She was taking him out for the sandals before.
Yeah.
And I thought to get that in there, it was just, I thought that was okay. I thought that was acceptable at that point.
Yes, exactly. And then Faye's calling the guys shady as fuck. Does the middle finger again, Dave. It's like a go-to move. She did it with fucking Chloe to Toby and stuff. And it's like, you're a fucking child. You're 26-year-old child. Look, I still do dick things. You probably do dick things. We all do daft things. And you think, fucking hell, I'm fucking 42 now. What the hell am I doing? I do. We do silly things. And that's like, but she just goes from like 1 to 100. It went from being funny, like you say, the sandals comment and everything, to just, I don't want to use the B word, Dave, but in the end, it was fucking bullying. And I genuinely think that if a guy had gone at one of the girls like that, one of the guys probably would have stepped in and either cooled him down or had a pop at him, or they'd have kicked him out for bullying. It's so hypocritical that if that was a guy, it would have fucking gone right off and he would have been cancelled immediately on social media and everything, Dave. She needs to get kicked out. It's gone beyond the jokey stuff of like, oh, we can see how insecure she is and that. No, she's a fucking bully, Dave. And I was going to say something else.
I keep thinking you're going to say a different word.
I was, and I'm not going to say it. But she's a bully. And when she doesn't get her own way, she is nasty. And someone said it was quite funny. It was like she was fucking Popeye tonight, because as soon as she puts that fucking lip liner on, she recharged the batteries after round 1 and went even further. And I'll give credit to Dale. Dale, top man, tried to diffuse it with her. She has a pop at him because she didn't like what he was fucking trying to tell. He was trying to be reasonable. And we've not seen this from Dale, but he come out of it with a lot of credit for me, Dave. He did. Yeah, and he wasn't standing for her shit. He's a Scotsman who looks like he can handle himself. He's got a bit of a, not a fiery temper, but he's not putting with his shit. And Matt did the same. He fucking called her out. And you can see if she goes at them, it's going to go. I mean, even Toby was fucking ready to pop on it. She's just an idiot. She loves the sound of her own voice. I'm way past it now, Dave. She can just fuck off. I hope she gets kicked out of the villa. I really do.
Yeah. And I think, like I say, everyone's become an amateur psychologist, haven't they? It's like, oh, yeah. Faye, she's been hurt in the past. And I've heard it so many times from different sources that, you know, this is why she's like this and like excusing all this behavior. Bottom line, she's toxic. Whatever the reasons are, I do genuinely think that, you know, I'm not sure if ITV were to have a proper duty of care, I'm not sure she should even have been let in the villa in the first place.
Agree.
I think she is, you know, displaying those characteristics, which, like I say, if we are excusing them and she's got some kind of personality disorder, you know, she shouldn't have been in there. But at the end of the day, she is in there right now. She wants a slice of fame. She wants a slice of the celebrity life, you know, so there's good and bad that's going to come of that. I just felt, in fact, you say about if the roles were reversed. So I'll just read out, because Abby had sent us in a tweet, and it said, do you guys not think Faye should be removed after tonight? It's abuse. If this was the other way round, Teddy would have been escorted out. We are watching someone being bullied and abused, and it's disgusting. And I can't disagree with any of that, Chris. I do think it strayed. It went across from an argument. I mean, the fucking finger thing, it's just ridiculous. I put in our chat, didn't I? The old Ross, you know, when he does the the alternative to the middle finger in Friends, you know, when he slams his two fists together. That Friends, it's played for a joke because the pair of them, you've got this sibling rivalry and they're just being so childish. And that's what Faye is. She's reverting to a child, giving the fucking finger. It's ridiculous. But so, you know, I don't tend to like to talk about my own situation, but I have to say, this kind of reminded me of my marriage, right? Towards the end, certainly. And it goes past the point of being an argument, like you say, because if it's one way, it's not an argument, right? And so people, including myself, are saying, Teddy, stop going back, stop trying to fix it. But I know what's going through his head because I've been there. And you think if you can remain calm, if you can be the voice of reason, then eventually you'll get past whatever it is that this thing has blown up about, and it will get better. There's no point just like going off in different directions in a huff, because nothing gets solved. So he's trying to solve it right there. And you and I had spoken a lot at the time about this, but I'm not sure I've ever told you. I rang a men's helpline, right? Because I thought this is unsustainable. I cannot keep taking this amount of verbal abuse, right? Because Teddy's acting all calm there, but it's chipping away. It takes energy, right, to be calm in that situation. And it chips away at you and chips away at you, and you're ground down. And it's almost like conditioning, because it ebbs away at your whole ego, your sense of self, and you become almost like conditioned to just taking this abuse and just feeling like you've got no worth at all. Rang this men's helpline. Chris, they were fucking shit. They basically said, well, you just have to take yourself out of that situation. Right, it's fucking brilliant that when you're in the middle of a marriage, when kids are involved or everything, you habited. Chris, there is no support, in my opinion, for blokes in this type of situation when they are being blatantly verbally abused. And that's why I've chosen to sort of mention that today, because I don't like it. I don't like speaking about it. But I know we do have a lot of guys listening to the show, and I do think it is better to talk about it because, like I say, if let's say Teddy and Faye have a go at this on the outside, it's only going to get worse, and he will get worse. His ego will. I say ego like it's, everyone wants a bit of self-confidence. Everyone wants to feel good in themselves. He will get ground down and ground down and ground down until he feels like shit and he's got no worth at all. So, yeah, I had almost like PTSD flashbacks tonight. And that's when I couldn't stop watching, but at a point tonight, it went past entertainment. And it was just quite horrifying to watch.
Oh, mate, honestly, I mean, good of you to share that with everyone, not just me. It's not just like me and you having a chat on the phone. Thanks for that, because I think it gives a perspective as well, a complete perspective. Because if Teddy, like you say, if they're going to make a go of it, Teddy's looking for that 5% of the day where Faye is nice and loving and caring. And the 95% of the day, he's treading on eggshells, Dave. And I've never.
I'd flip it. I'd flip it. It is what Teddy is seeing is I'd say is the 95% of the day where things are good. They're getting on, they're having chat. But then a few times it's the 5% when she blows up. But the 5% has a bigger impact on the overall relationship.
True. That's a very good point, actually. You're right. I got that slightly wrong, but you're right. You don't want that to happen. So what happens is you become codependent, and her behavior just gets worse and worse as the time goes on. And that's how it'll be. She needs to have a long fucking look at herself. And I agree with you. Look, we love reality TV, love talking about this nonsense. And when there's a bit of a kickoff, I'm there, Dave. Like you say, fucking popcorn in hand. I've got my Prosecco. I was on the JD and I fucking loved it tonight. But it did go past the point of like, no, this isn't good. This is not good. And and I also think, I know probably some of the girls, and I'm not blaming all the girls because I think some of the guys, but it wouldn't have helped. Dale tried to reason with her. She was having none of it. She doesn't respect any of the guys because it's an us. The guys have been bellends, let's be honest. I understand, like with what's happened. The guys have treated the girls disgracefully this series. There really has been some proper shits on the show. There really has. But it's like one of the girls should have put her to task. I mean, Kaz tried to be funny and drop down behind the fucking counter, which will obviously be a meme that'll go on forever and a day when Faye was kicking off. But they don't do anything. Liberty's with Jake, there to have that conversation. This is the best thing that could have happened to Jake because everyone's just looking at fucking Faye going, and even Liberty, he's like shouting. Everyone who made a mistake, like Liam, this was the best thing that could have happened to them because nobody cares. And the partners have just gone, what? Oh, forget about that. Don't worry about that. Yeah, well, we'll come back to that at some point. And everyone's forgiven. So Faye's done everyone a favour but herself. And she's made such a fucking mistake tonight acting like that. And it's not even like it's a one-off. And you can see whether she was drunk tonight or whether they give her, she did have a drink in her hand. We know they usually give him one drink and that. So we don't know whether it's that. But her levels of toxicity tonight were just, we've not seen that in her. And a lot of people have said she's very similar to Olivia Atwood, who, I've watched Olivia. She was in series 3. Me and Sam watch her reality show. She's a fucking spoilt brat, Dave. Everyone loves her because she didn't fuck about. She's very much similar to Faye, but I don't even think Olivia, when she had her worst moments in the villa, was like this. And Faye, I don't know. All the stuff about, she was so insecure about her body. So if her mum and dad bought her a boob job, I'm not really thinking that is the best thing you should be saying. One on TV. And I'm even doubting now whether that's even true.
You know what, Chris? You've stolen my thoughts out of my head there. I question the truth in that, to be honest, from everything that I've seen since. She's going on about how her family are brutal, but she's telling this story about crying every night from 13 to 18. I don't buy it. I'm not buying it. There is one of those two things that is not true.
Yeah, I agree. And Dave, look, and this isn't I'm certainly not trying to one up on your story before. I'm not, but I didn't have a good upbringing at all. And I'm not the only one. I would never if I had children, they would never grow up scared of me and they'd always be able to rely on me. And I did grow up in a really bad family environment. And that's all I'm going to say. What you've said today is far more important. It's more preeminent to what we're talking about. But it's not a case of trying to one up on everyone. It's not, because what you said deserves its moment there, because it's really brave of you to say that. But she can't blame it on her family upbringing, because you've got to, in your head, go, I'm not going to treat my siblings and my family like that, my children, whoever. You cannot do that. So you can't blame everything around. You can't blame your surroundings. You are a creation of your surroundings, but it's up to you to fucking change that and change that mantra of, well, I saw it with my parents, or I saw it with my grandparents or my aunties and uncles. You change it. If you want to be a better person, you do that. And you cannot go through life doing that. I hope to God, for her sake, this is the moment when she looks back at this and she is so embarrassed and goes, I'm so sorry to everyone. And she changes, Dave, because she needs to, because she's going down a route there. And I can see it and you can see it. And everyone else, that's only going to it's only going to end in heartache. And I do think the producers have got to get hold of Faye, and she's got to have some sort of counselling coming out of the villa, because if her attitude carries on like this, she's going to get one hell of a backlash. And the Be Kind movement and everything, there's going to be some serious ramifications for her, Dave. And I feel for her. I know that Teddy's the one who deserves all the help and sympathy at the moment. But in the long run, it's only going to come back on Faye if they don't get hold of this and nip it in the bud. Yeah,
I mean, there's so many fucking idiots on social media. There's going to be a lot of hurtful things thrown her way, and I don't condone that one bit. Like I say, just because we're saying she is toxic and she needs help, actually. Well, there's two things that need to happen. She needs to recognize it herself.
Yeah.
And want that help and get that help, and stop being a massive bellend. You were saying about your kind of, how you've dealt with it. Part of that is to make the choice to not be a massive fucking bellend, right? She's not made that choice yet. She is being a massive bellend, and as you say, she's making excuses. Or rather, I feel like some quarters are making excuses for her, but everyone goes through shit, Chris. Everyone. And it's how you deal with it as well. And I just think, yeah, you're right, Chris. I'm trying to remember, was it the first week or second week? I'd said Faye reminds me, back in the day when you used to go out to pubs and clubs and stuff. She reminds me of that girl who's causing fights. Right, she's fucking shouting away, instigating things, and then blokes being blokes can't back down, and then it ends up in a fight. Everything I've seen since convinces me I'd nailed that one. Sometimes you're always building up a picture of these people, aren't you? So, it's like a drawing. You have a light sketch at first, and then, something else happens and you're filling in the detail. So sometimes we can be off. But no, I think she is that person, to be honest. And Teddy, run for the fucking hills, to be honest. Like I say, I hope in different ways, both of them need to make a change. They can't stay together, Chris, outside. But I fear, like I say, once Teddy gets into that codependence, even though everyone on the outside is like, no, this is a bad idea. When you're in the eye of the storm, you don't necessarily see it yourself. And so, I tell you what, Chris, this might break the record. I think I'm stealing your quote, which I'm not sure where you got your facts
I stole
from.
that off someone else, Dave, so don't worry. You're not stealing anything.
You know what I'm going to say,
yeah,
don't you? It's going to be a record Ofcom complaints, and it's like, but how how can they know that? It is just a guess. But I'm guessing Ofcom will probably release that in a week or 2 weeks or something. So we won't know for a while. People have to submit their complaints, and then Ofcom have to go through them, vet them and stuff, and then they'll publish them at some point. So, Chris, like I say, it was for part of the episode, I loved it. And part of it sort of went too far. I have to say, for a while after, I'm just still shell shocked by what I've seen. So, I don't know, Chris. What are your predictions for what happens next?
There's a vote in there, so Faye's going to stay in now. Are they going to try and portray this story? Look, it's not like Big Brother where they get them in and you hear a voice on the other end of them sat in a diary room. In Love Island, other than Laura Whitmore, they talk to each other and they talk to a screen, but there's obviously someone prompting them with questions. We never hear that person. There must be stuff going on in behind the scenes. I think the only thing with Teddy was he kept going at her to try and sort it out, and I just think he should have just left her. That made it worse.
That's what I'm saying. You don't. I agree with you. But having been in that situation, you don't know it. You're trying to fix it.
Yeah,
you're trying to smooth over the problem. And like you say, everyone was having a go. Like Dale thought, you know what? I've got no skin in the game. I was in the girls' villa, when Casa Amor was going on. Faye and I get on. I am the perfect person, and I'm gonna, stick my head out the parapet, and I'm gonna smooth this over. Even at the end of it, he was like, "Oh, fuck off." He'd had enough. Yeah,
he did. I mean, Dave, let's get into some of it. We've had, I'm sure we're going to get more on this episode, but we've had 5 emails, and we've actually had a message from my wife, Dave, who, when we watched it tonight, it's like, right, I'm writing something down. So I said, so she sent me, so I've got a little bit of a semi-email, nice. Dave. So this is from...
You've got a little bit of a semi-email.
She charmed me, Dave. Right, here we go. She's put, she likes him, and obviously he really likes her too. Her insecurities let her down. She speaks about putting her brain in gear. I think because she likes him, her feelings scared her. So she finds little faults to end the relationship before it's even started to save herself the heartache. But she's breaking her own heart behaving this way, which is the top and tail of what's going on. It's just gone beyond just being a dick, isn't it, Dave? It's just gone the other way.
Yeah, and it's this, again, this isn't coming from me. I've heard it lots of different sources, but Faye is, a classic kind of self-sabotager. So she can't accept in her own head that good things could happen. So she can't. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Then drink, another adage there, Chris. So yeah, but again, we can make all the excuses, we can rationalize it all, but it's just it doesn't make it right, does it? And I'm seeing it in this situation. I'm seeing it more from Teddy's perspective, to be honest. I'll be transparent about that.
No, it's Dave. It's really good what you've said today. The first email's from our good friend Karen, and she sent this halfway through the show, Dave. So this is when you know that things are going down. She's titled it, "Get Faye Out." Hi, Chris and Dave, and I'm going to try and do Roger Murtaugh's voice there. She says, "I'm too old for this shit." But Faye needs to bugger off home. Only halfway through the show, but I don't want to watch any more of Faye Island. It's not all about her, but she's made it so. And Chloe egging her on bugged me too. Now, that we didn't talk about that, but that pissed me off as well. I think Faye was going to turn on Chloe, and Chloe went, "Oh, I really like the way you go back at him. Like, I really like your comeback." So I was like, "Oh, Chloe, shut up." So yeah. And
bit of self-preservation there, wasn't it?
Yes. Yeah, Faye fucking spun as if she was going to have a pop at Chloe then. And then Chloe's sort of like, no, I'm joking. But I guess Jake has got what's coming to him, but quite possibly he's been playing the game. It is a game after all. Hopefully, find love, but more importantly, the 50 grand. I hope Millie and Liam win. I am annoyed tonight, Karen. So short and sweet, Dave. And obviously it was only halfway through. So thank you, Karen.
Awesome.
And then the next one's from Denise, Dave, our good friend Denise. Shocking. At some point, that episode ceased being entertaining and crossed over into watching verbal abuse. I get they sign up for this show, but Faye's reaction was shocking to watch and uncomfortable. Was this an audition for being a raging drunk on Geordie's show? Well, I've watched Geordie's show from the start. She's not far off. I couldn't stop thinking Teddy's family is also watching that. Let's be honest. And that's very true. A lot of people said that, Dave, online. Let's be honest. If a guy reacted that way to a girl on that show, I'm certain they'd be escorted out the villa. So the whole Faye has insecurities doesn't hold any weight for me. Is this supposed to be what a fiery relationship looks like? Yikes, I'll pass. Lots of love from Denise. So that's a great email, Dave.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It touches on a lot of what we've talked about, doesn't it?
And the next one, Dave, is from Anto, and I have stolen the spinach line from Anto. I knew I'd seen it, so I apologise, Anto. As you can tell, my material's not always original, so I apologise before I read this. Anyway, this is entitled "Justice for Teddy. Faye woke up and chose violence." Tonight's episode was pure violence. I was looking at my TV and watching the onslaught by Faye through my hands. What was she on? I completely understand why she's single, because why would anyone put up with her? Where does she think she has the right to speak to someone like that? I feel when she leaves the show and watches it back, she will deeply regret how she not only handled the situation, but how she spoke to Teddy. I think she felt embarrassed after she saw how she was speaking to Sam and told herself whatever she sees, she has to make sense of it. I respect Teddy for not demeaning himself by acting just like her and even trying to have a resolution. But mate, it was not going to happen. So a part of me wanted him to just leave it. Why do I feel that the producers knew not to put up the voting tonight and instead made it last night? Because surely Faye would have gone, which is very true. Even if you play devil's advocate for a moment and see where she was coming from, it still wasn't any reason to completely verbally assault Teddy and pretty much all the other guys. I feel like she has been voting to break up with Teddy since she came back, but didn't have the balls to do it or a valid reason. So this has gave her all the ammunition she needed. I felt very much like she was gaslighting him by pretty much making him think the situation was the most horrible thing anyone has done in the world. I also was taken back by the fact none of the girls, or even Toby, who she gets on with, really said anything to her. They all just stood back and, if anything, kept saying, "Oh, I get what you mean, but I would be upset too." If Teddy or any of the guys on the show spoke to her or any of the girls, they would have been branded a bully and a prick and maybe even been asked to leave. I wonder, this is where I stole the line, so apologies, Anton, sorry. I wonder, the brown lipstick is like Popeye's spinach for Faye, because she went to reapply in between the arguments. It's like it gave her more strength, laugh out loud. I was happy to Jake finally get called out for Casa Amor antics, but I didn't want to see Liberty upset. And Jake was so upset by the situation, he didn't even go and speak to Liberty about it. She had to pull him for a chat. Well, I suppose Millie and Liam have sorted everything out now. Let's be honest, Liam didn't have to really work hard to get her back. That's very true. The next episode is making me remember Anton and Belle's falling out at the Love Island beach party. And I think there is a round 5 between Faye and Teddy coming up. One thing, have you guys seen the new girl coming into the villa? I hope she comes in on Sunday's episodes just to fuck it up with Faye, and I hope Teddy goes for her. All the best, guys. So there's a link on the Metro website if anyone wants to see. She's called Priya and she's a nurse, Dave, and a very pretty girl as well.
Oh, please go after Teddy. Yeah, I love that bit at the end of that email, by the way. Hey, just one less thing. I don't agree with that in the workplace.
You wanted to get me with that yesterday, right? Here we go. Kayla is back. What the hell is going on? Hey, guys, last night's episode was so upsetting to watch. Faye was unbelievable tonight. Faye screaming and calling Teddy out of his name was unacceptable. A producer should have stepped in. But also, why did Teddy come back and continue to speak to Faye when she didn't want him to? Which obviously you'd explain why, Dave. So I think that answers that really good. There's no way to have a discussion with her when she's yelling. So what was the point of coming back to the kitchen? The other issue is also that Teddy wasn't entirely honest. He never mentioned his attraction to Clarice or that he would have shared a bed with her had Tyler not asked first, but then Faye has gone about it so terribly that none of it matters anyway. As soon as Faye was laughing about her video making fun of Teddy, the relationship was done. Millie has disappointed me so much. What an absolute idiot. I couldn't believe how she reacted to the three-way kiss. That was probably the worst betrayal, and he lied about it. I just want them to go home. Jake, the fucking snake. I honestly pity these girls because these men are disgusting. Why would Jake not pull liberty and immediately reassure that he finds her stunning? He was so worried about Faye rightfully calling him out, which his anger about that was so weird. He wasn't mad at Faye mentioning his sister. He was drunk and scared that he was being exposed. Faye was right. Why say that he sees the Villa girls as sisters and then hold a meeting about how the boys should cheat? He's so sneaky, encouraging the boys to cheat, then helping them repair their relationships. She put weird. There's almost no one to root for because everyone is so awful and refusing to accept responsibility for where they messed up, even if it seems small. We need the Twitter game now from Kayla. So, Dave, that's a hell of an email as well.
Yeah, and there's a few different sort of perspectives in there that I want to talk to. So Jake's reaction being weird, I didn't see it as weird. I thought what happened was, regardless of what we think Jake's reasons were for egging the lads on, whether we think it's for the 50K, whether we think that's just part of his modus operandi, that's what he does in that situation. You know, he can't cheat, you know, he's going to be good, but, you know, the other guys, he's going to really egg them on and live through them kind of thing. But at the end of the day, the way Faye was going after him and bringing his sister into it, it almost doesn't matter what he's done there. He's being attacked. He feels attacked, and he was fucking raging about it. So you could see in his face. I know he's got a fair bit of sunburn there. It's not a good advert, this show, for skin cancer, to be honest, Chris, because none of them protect themselves properly, I don't think. But anyway, I think there was part of, you know, just rage in there. So he just had to take himself out of the situation. So I've seen quite a few people actually criticize, you know, why didn't he just talk to Liberty? You know, after that first video where he was saying about not wanting to rip her clothes off and she was quite upset about that. I think if they'd have stopped it there, I think he might have done. But at the end of the day, the last thing that they've seen, you know, he's been attacked himself. So he's not really in the headspace to just go and try and smooth things over with Liberty. He possibly should have been, you know, he possibly should have, you know, taken a step back and thought, right, well, I need to sort this out with the person I actually really care about. But I think in that moment, he's just thinking about himself and he just wants to get away to cool off.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Dave. Brilliant. It's weird, isn't it? Because when something happens like this on these shows and we talk about it, everyone has a different perspective, but nobody's really wrong, I don't think, Dave. It's just you see it in different eyes. Now, Dave, I've read 4 really long emails. This one's really long. Do you want to read this next one from our good friend Jason?
Yeah, and I've got a brilliant review as well, which I'll also review. So this one is from James, and it said, "This movie episode was so good. Jake the Snake exposed. The producers all deserve awards." I mean, Chris, we loved Temptation Island, didn't we?
Yeah.
Especially the first couple of seasons. I felt like they toned it down. The third season was kind of like, with all the controversy that was going on with The Bachelor, it's almost as if they thought, right, well, let's bachelorize this. Let's pretend like it's this virtuous process that helps couples. Whereas the first one was just like, show the most incriminating, worst footage you can with no context at all. You can't ask any questions or anything. And that's what I wouldn't be surprised, Chris, if the producers have taken a leaf out of Temptation Island's book. It's more of a movie drive-in sort of situation, isn't it? Whereas Temptation Island's obviously a bit smaller, but yeah, they proper turned it up to 11 tonight.
Oh God, yeah, definitely. So, Dave, what's the review then?
So this is from our Australian store, Chris, and this is from Lowless6969, and it says, better than the show, baby. And it simply says, Chris, love this crack.
Is that the Kaz and Tyler crack or the? No, thank you. Great review.
I don't know. I was trying to think, is it off the back of a toilet sniffing crack or
Oh, Dave. Oh, no. It's usually me lowering the tone. But Dave.
Actually, I was thinking more like Coke. I wasn't, I meant like, not the actual toilet. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
Not that I know of these things. It's just
what you've heard. Well, Dave, I did say the other day when we were doing our Patrons, and I was trying to do it in one breath. I can't do this in one breath now, Dave, because we have two
I think you
brand
can.
new.
I think you're up to the challenge.
Okay. Well, you told me off the other day because Sam was laughing.
That's because you were farting about going, oh, hold on. Oh, I'm not going to be able to do this. Hold on. Wait.
Okay.
I've got it. I've almost got it. Right.
Right. Challenge is set, Dave. Right. Hang on. Here we go. So big. I don't know why I'm huffing. I need to do the little intro to it. So anyway,
you can take a breath before the names.
The names, right? Okay, here we go. So big thanks to everyone on Patreon, patreon.com/CD RealityCast. And I tell you, the Discord channel for all our patrons was off the hook tonight, Dave. So it was really good. Also, get over to Facebook, guys. Chris and Dave's Reality TV Cast. Get over there. Some great chat on that. Honestly, unbelievable. It's going fucking crazy after tonight's episode. So here we go. We have, and a big thanks to Ken, Lauren, looking at Lou Green, Tracy, I can't breathe, Hayley, Hennessy, Susan, Priscilla, Hannah, Dee Dee, Katie, Libby, Helen, Joanna, Zoe, Amy, Claire, I'm speaking Edwin, Nori, Jacqueline, because I can't breathe, Neve, Chloe, two new Patreons, the wonderful Brianna and Charlie. Thank you for joining our Patreon channel, guys. So if you didn't get that, we have Charlie and Brianna who have joined our channel. So thank you.
Awesome.
Need some oxygen next
take a
time.
breath before the names, and then you waste time going, big thanks to, and then you go into the names. You got to think tactically, mate. If it's just Jake, you'd have it nailed by now.
Yeah, but you're the methodical one. I'm the jumping with 2 feet and just think about it later. So.
No, that's absolutely brilliant. And so obviously, I know we've talked about some serious issues tonight, Chris, but I still can't wait for Sunday night. 2 weeks to go. It's just over 2 weeks, isn't it? Because we've got like 2 full weeks, and then I think we finish on the 23rd of August. So yeah, I think we've got another week of potential drama. They're going to the beach hut, is it, or something? It's where Anton had a blow up with his partner at the time, whose name I always forget. Belle, that's the one. It's that place, isn't it? Where we were saying, hang about, this is the waitress is the same person as Anton asked for a phone number. Remember that?
Oh God, yeah. Oh, Dave, I'm going to keep my eye out now. Then, not that we've seen anyone else. They've not gone shopping or anything in this series. So, yeah, I'll keep my eye out.
Well, we're still in a pandemic, Chris, so we're supposedly in some sort of bubble. So I don't quite know what they're going to do there. So
I've got it.
Anyway,
I've got it. Before we go, the new girl, Priya, is going to be the waitress, Dave. There you go. Reality, #reality radar. Chris, making predictions
That's
again.
not a radar. I
Radar.
always get confused about what the parameters are for the radar. If you read an article that says her name, I'm not sure that's a radar situation.
It's a radar, Dave. Look, don't ruin it. It's a radar, okay?
Oh, dear me.
Anyway, it's time to go, my friend.
All right, mate. Well, I shall speak to you next time.
Bye.